I'm Jory Herman, and this is my album, and this is the first three suites by Johann Sebastian Bach. And this album is pretty much a culmination of the 20 years I've been playing bass, everything technically and musically. It's been huge to be able to work on something like this, and I'm glad that I've finally been able to sit down and record it. When I set out to start working on this album and knew I was going to record a solo project, I came in contact with Chris Hobson, who had done some recording of a chorale group in town, Sacra Profana, and I ordered the CD and listened to the work he'd done and listened to the Tree Ring, which he recorded a few months earlier, and I had seen some pictures of how he worked and heard the sound, and I could tell he was very meticulous in setting up the sound and making sure everything was right, and captured in a way that represented what happens live in the performance. For a little while we thought he was going to be both producing and engineering, because I couldn't quite find someone that was the right fit to be a producer until I found out that Jeremiah Shaw was in town. He had just moved to San Diego a few months before, and we had crossed paths at New World Symphony, and I knew he had a recording background, and and he's a cellist as well, so it's the perfect, storm to have a cellist be the producer.
I was definitely interested in this project because they're cello suites, so there's something I'm familiar with. So this was a great experience for me to actually be sitting in the pilot seat and running the session.
Especially with his recording background. So I asked him to be on it, and he was excited to join us. So that was the three that we needed. We got the bass, the recording engineer, and the producer.
First step in any project like this is to figure out where you want to track the recording, and often the best acoustic spaces are not in the studio, so you end up having to explore your options.
I went around the city in San Diego and researched a few different churches that were great settings, and I found the Church of Nativity in Rancho, Santa Fe. When I brought my bass there the second time just to try out some music and see what the bass sounded like in the space, then it confirmed my thoughts of that this was the place to record Bach.
When I first walked in the church, I clapped my hands, and you could hear the reverb time must have been 3-4 seconds. It sounded like a hall. It sounded like a perfect space to record classical music.
I wanted to do it in a space that I was really in love with. I didn't want to choose a recording studio, which in some situations would be the best in terms of sound isolation. But artistically and creatively, I really wanted to find a place that I can really fall in love with and have the space be as much as a part of the music as the music. The Unaccompanied suites have an interesting history because J.S. Bach wrote them in around this time of 1720, but there's actually no manuscript from his hand that exists. There's several manuscripts from around the time, but some are from other people, one from Anna Magdalena Bach, his wife. So there's an interesting air about it, and it actually went unperformed for the longest time until the famous cellist Pablo Casals found them in a music library, and he's the one who really brought them back around the early 1900s. To work on the music, it's really special. He has everything in there from screams of pain to tears of joy, and the music speaks for itself. If you close your eyes and weren't watching the instrumentalist, that it dances by itself. And try to make it sound as effortless as possible, because the bass is very technically demanding, very physically demanding, and I try to make the music act and the contour in a way that you get lost in the music and not the physicality of playing the instrument. what I bring to the performance comes through Francois Rabath, my teacher Paul Ellison. I have so much to say about him, and everyone I've met over the years, there's a little bit of everyone in this music. As I'm growing artistically and as a musician, I'm taking a little something from everyone, and it's quite a pleasure to be able to bring all that together in this incredible music that J.S. Bach has written in the Bach Cello Suites 1, 2, and 3.